You're listening to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast.
DRC, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast. You're listening to episode 36. I am one of your hosts, Mike Tattoo Hearn, joined by the legend formerly known as Jeremy. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? Doing great. Yourself?
Oh, fantastic. And Bradford Lee?
Doing awesome today.
Oh, yeah. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone's Wednesday doing? Who wants to go first?
I love hump day. It's the best day of the week.
Well, Bradford, I think you should go first then.
Oh, I will then. Yeah, hump day is great. It's, we're almost there. We're almost to the weekend. It's the last day of the competitive season of Hearthstone too. So it's like a win-win day. It's too bad that we don't get competitive points, BlizzCon points anymore for top 100 though.
Yeah.
So the grind is not as
there?
real. What's that?
Are you up there? Are you up there?
I've kind of given up on the idea of it this month because it's not worth it. Like it's whatever. So I've been doing just a bunch of Tavern Brawl and whatnot and playing some Arena. You know, the usual.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jeremy?
Not a whole lot, man. Just I messed with Tavern Brawl a little bit because I knew we were going to talk about it some tonight. Did a whole bunch of backlog quests that I had. I had a lot of like win 3 random quest or win 3 games with a random or with any class, and so I was picking up Druid, messing with mid-range Druid for a little bit, but mostly Hunter Druid and the Brawl for me.
Yes. Which we're going to talk about that later. I'm enjoying this new Brawl, or this week's Brawl rather.
Yeah.
So far, we'll get into that in a minute.
All right, cool.
Yeah, this week, Hearthstone. It's good. Hearthstone's good. I don't know. I kind of gave up on the push, the ladder push a little bit a couple days ago. Doing really well at the start of the season. But things kind of, I don't know what happened. Things kind of just, I don't know. I just kind of fell out. I didn't have a lot of time. Yeah.
Since the whole ranked rewards things, we talked about this like back before, like I had hit legend. I was like, well, I'll get to legend once and then I don't care about it anymore. And that's pretty much been the way that it's worked out. Like now every month I'm like, well, I can get to 5 so I can get the golden epic. But then from that point, I just start playing random stuff because I'm like, well, I don't want to play the class that I'm best at because I don't get any, wins counted for it.
Yeah.
So like I was messing with Druid a lot because I've never really played much Druid and I'm not good at Druid. So then I drop back down to like 7 and then back up to 5 and 4 and then just bounce around that area. So
yeah, I kind of gave up on my Dragon Priest this past week. It just has not been doing very well for me. I guess people are figuring it out. So I've been playing some Zulok. I guess it's more of a Demon Lock. And then Secret Paladin. If you haven't checked it out, last week we had an interview with CG Songbird or Cora, and she put a post on her Corridin, as she's calling it. So interesting deck. It's actually been doing really well for me. So if you're out there, I recommend it. Highly recommend it. So go check it out.
I've been messing around with Dragon Priest. Again, not too much success though. Like it's been a 50-50. I'll win. I'll just crush 50% of the games and get crushed the other 50%.
It doesn't have.
So what are you guys losing to? Like what's changed in the meta that Dragon Priest isn't?
For me, it's the games. I have to finish it quick, and this deck doesn't have a lot of ways to end a game quickly. That's what I'm running into. I mean, what about you? What are you seeing, Brad?
A lot of the same.
Okay.
Sometimes the aggro decks can beat you. Like, let's say like Mech Mage has a perfect hand, but that deck, I feel like I stonewall him with all my taunts. And the same is, well, not entirely true with Secretin because they have a little bit more resiliency than the Mech Mage builds. But it seems like some of those games I just can't finish out. Like even against Control Warrior, sometimes I just feel like my 2/3s dragon for one doesn't quite compare with what they're going to be building towards, and I can't finish the game in time. And then they slam Justicar Trueheart, and it's like, well, now you're gaining 4 a turn. That I can only hit for 3.
And that's what's killing me too. That card is really doing some work on me when it comes to Dragon Priest, because you're all about getting value, and they just kind of outvalue you. Because once they play the 6/3, who cares if you kill the 6/3? They got what they needed. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. Not saying it's like overpowered or needs rip, or I don't know. It's just kind of unfortunate, I guess. I don't know.
That card's definitely the one card. If I had to say that I was most wrong about in TGT, I saw that card and immediately dismissed it. I was like, well, a 6/3, that's stupid. That's going to die immediately to a 2-drop.
Yeah.
And then like none of the hero powers are really even that relevant. And then I didn't really think about, Paladin and Warrior. It's just disgusting. I've been playing mid-range Paladin with Justicar Trueheart in it. The amount of late game that card provides by itself, drop it on turn 10, you hero power, play it, and then hero power again.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting. And then they have to kill these 1/1s every turn. Otherwise, you're going to drop a Quartermaster. It's just gross.
Yeah. I might play it in Rogue just for the laughs, just so my opponent can be like, really, you're playing Justicar Trueheart to get a 2/2 weapon.
Yeah,
just for the lulls. I forgot what it does for. I forgot what it does for Rogue.
Basically nothing.
Oh, okay.
I've been playing a lot of Rogue, actually. Someone on my stream said, hey, you should play Pirate Rogue, and sent me a list. And I was like, yeah, okay. I have every card but like some common. I'll play it. So I played a couple games with it. Wasn't very successful with it. And so immediately I started messing around with it. And now I've built a build that's like what's that called? Cold Blood. It's a Cold Blood charge build. It's kind of like an aggro version of the Oil Rogue builds. So it still has the Tinker, Sharp Sword Oils, the Deadly Poisons, your typical weapon buff ability or cards. And the sprints and the like the preparation, your typical rogue cards, but instead of some of the finishers you typically find in an Oil Rogue build, I've got like Arcane Golems, Argent Horse Rider, which is an all-star in that deck, and even like a Noyatron for the aggro matchup, so that I can just have a board presence, and that being potentially getting to my next turn and being able to Cold Blood that up even is decent. I think even 2 South Sea deckhands, just a lot of damage burst, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've been playing around with that deck this week as well. What else have I played? I played a lot of Mech Mage to try and climb the ladder earlier. I was going really well. In fact, I think Mech Mage is a really good choice on ladder right now.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that too,
what's the difference between the new Mech Mage and the old Mech Mage? Because I tried to just plug and play old Mech Mage, and it was awful. It was really, really bad.
Right now I'm playing Fel Reavers. I'm not excited about Fel Reaver. It's never really one of those cards that I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to play Fel Reaver. It just gets BGH and stuff. But so it doesn't feel great, but I've been playing that. The biggest thing I think is, since we've seen a lot of Secret In floating around, Mech Warper gets a lot better. If you can turn to a Warper against Paladin, it's really hard for them to deal with it. Unless if they're already have like a Shielded Minibot and Muster for Battle in hand. So they have to have a 2-card like combo in a sense. So slamming a Warper early in that matchup's really good, and being able to then just unload your hand the next turn, because it's just so hard for them to deal with it. And that's really where I feel like what made Mech Mage such a more powerful deck, because now some of its more favorable class matchups are a little more prevalent on the ladder as compared to something like Control Warrior, which I still see a decent amount of Control Warrior in Legend, but not as much as I would say I'd seen in this previous seasons. So it's just, it's all about consistency for them and being able to unload their hand as quickly as possible. And so has a very strong Secret In matchup, and as well as that good Druid matchup, because it does very similar to what Zoo does, which is overpopulates the board and takes board control against the Druid player. And that really puts the Druid player on a back foot. Yeah. And you can just destroy them before they can even get to the turn where they could combo. So that's why I think it's so good. And I think generally it's just the build that I'm running right now is just all mech basically. It's it's got all the mech synergies, 2 blast mages, 2 Tinkertown technicians, and your normal slew of mech pieces. The only mech that I'm really missing is the 3-drop one, which is Harvest Golem. And the only reason I'm not playing Harvest Golem is because, well, Tinkertown Technician fits with the deck a little better.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also cut Archmage Antonitis. I have not liked Archmage Antonitis as of recent because it seems like the meta's sped up a little bit.
Yeah, very much so. Yes.
Yeah. And so I've just moved back to one of my favorite mech cards, which is Blingtron 3000. A card that is full of RNG, but incredibly fun to play with. And he brings the bling indeed, because all the weapons are golden. It's just super fun to play with.
Right.
The other thing about Blingtron 3000 is a little known fact. He got better with the new set release because there's less of a chance to get your Lights Justice. There's less of a chance to give your opponent something like Doomhammer or what's the other one I'm thinking of? True Silver Champion. And there's a greater chance that you're going to get a better weapon because there's now even like deadly. I don't even know what the name of the card is. It's a rogue card. It's a rogue weapon that came out. It was considered one of the worst cards in TGT. Deadly Poison.
1/3.
Deadly. Yeah, the 1/3 that gets +1 if you use your hero power. So with Blingtron in the late game, it's really good because it starts as a 2/3. So you do 2 your first turn, then you ping again. And then you do 3 the next turn, then you ping again, do 4 the next turn. So effectively throughout the 3 charges, you're getting anywhere, I would say, between 6 to 8 damage from that one weapon. So it's pretty powerful.
Nice.
I've had a lot of success with Blingtron. I love the card too. It's super fun.
It is a fun card.
Yeah.
Are you? Did you say? Are you putting Harrison Jones in it?
I haven't been playing Harrison Jones in it. I could see it slotting with Blingtron for sure.
Okay.
Basically, the only way I lock down weapons right now is Annoyatron, Snow Chuggers, and Frostbolts. So that's 6 ways to kind of lock them out of using their weapon. But honestly, when you have Fell Reaver in your deck and you're playing Fireballs and Frostbolts and a lot of really aggressively costed, cheap, efficient threats, you can really giving your opponent a weapon a lot of times is good for you.
Right.
Weirdly enough, because except for like True Silver Champion, which means they can attack and kill the thing and gain life. But a lot of times I'll play Blingtron and then they'll get a Doomhammer and they'll double hit the Blingtron. I'm like, sweet, Blingtron did 6 damage just because they got a Doomhammer.
Yeah.
And then I also am hitting them with a weapon. So it's bonkers sometimes the amount of damage that Blingtron can produce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Blingtron's what, a 6-drop?
He's a 5-drop.
Yeah.
5-drop. Okay.
5 mana, 3/4, and then he gives a random weapon to each player.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's talk about this week's Tavern Brawl. It's mechs have attacked. What's going on here? I'm enjoying it. Again, it just came out, as of this recording today. And I haven't put terribly many games in. I haven't truly figured it out yet. You know what I mean? Like some of these in the past where it's just two classes or 2 deck types or whatever. Like the first one, for example, I just haven't completely figured it out yet. Well, what are your guys' thoughts? What are you thinking?
I'm liking it so far. It's really neat. I love these brawls that put out more, different aspects and just new characters in a sense. And they were able to even recycle old ideas this way, which was cool. You get Annoyatron as a character or Boombots as a character, and they're fighting each other, which is awesome because it's kind of fun to see these these iconic characters. Everyone knows Dr. Boom and the Boombots, and everyone is just like rages about the Boombots sometimes. And now you can have him as a hero with their hero power of dealing random damage. And then Annoyatron, everyone knows Annoyatron because, well, hello, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I don't know. It's been a fun one so far. I think this is my initial impressions. Let me know what you guys think. I think the Annoyatron side is better than the Boombot side.
That's what I'm getting to. It's on top of that, it's kind of. I think if everything's even, everyone has the same a good starting hand and it continues, and you've got your drops you need. I think Annoyatron comes out on top. But that's the thing I haven't figured out quite yet. What side has the advantage over the other? What cards does one side have or the other? Or is it all random? Do you guys know yet?
No, I don't think it's not random. I'm looking at a Hearthpawn now, and they have like the deck list.
Okay.
Together. The deal is, I think the reason that this favors the Annoyatron so much is for no other reason than the Annoyatron's hero power is way better.
Yeah.
The Boombot hero power it sucks. It's just not very good. It's a randomized mage hero power is basically what you get.
Right.
Yeah.
Deal 1 damage to a random, opponent. So it's I don't know. I feel like if it was 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 to a random opponent, that would have been really, really good. But as it stands, like Annoyatron, you can get a creature. You can basically, it says your lowest attack minions, but you can manipulate it in a way that. So for those of you who don't know, like if you haven't played this brawl yet, basically the way it works, both hero powers cost 2. Annoyatron says give your lowest attack minion divine shield and taunt. Boombot says deal 1 damage to 2 random enemies. So basically, the Boombot is just kind of a really underpowered mage hero power.
Yeah.
Whereas the Annoyatron, it does say to your lowest attack minion, but it's like Arena where you really only have 1 or 2 minions on the board at a time. So you can pretty much always manipulate it into a situation where you put the Divine Shield on whatever you want. Which was, what I was doing when I was playing. I'd kill off my low attack minion by trading and then put the Divine Shield on a big guy and then attack with the big guy. And there was nothing they could do. So.
Yeah, I played against a guy and I had him down to 1 and he plays Godzilla and he's just like taunt and it's just game over immediately. It's like, all right, we're done here. This is amazing that I could control the game all the way to the point where he's just like, all right, taunt game. Just like, all right, can't get past you now. And I even threw my random boom bots, and of course it's like if I hit his Godzilla, he's just gonna one hit me. Yeah. But I have to go for it. And sure enough, I get one shotted the next turn. I think I was at 29 or something like that. And he's just like, okay, you're dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They have, I don't know. We can kind of try and stay away from this subject as much as possible, but I am against Brawl just in general, like the idea of it. I think it is a waste of resources to spend time on this every week because at least in my opinion, because I don't enjoy them. I normally play 1 every week, which is the first one that I win, or 1 or 2 every week. And then I don't play it again until the following week. I played this one a little bit more because I knew we were going to be talking about it. But just generally speaking, like this isn't the way that I like to play. I dislike the random aspects of Hearthstone, and just the general idea of Brawl overall seems to be, hey, let's make this as random as we possibly can and see what happens. But I have a question for you. We've been through enough of them now to kind of get a sense of what they're like. Do you prefer the ones that you build your own deck, or do you prefer the ones that are pre-constructed? Just, hey, here's what you got.
I don't know that I have a preference on those. I enjoy the ones where I get a constructed deck because I spend more time on it. I'm like you, I don't play it too much. I play them a couple times and then I feel like they get worn out a bit. But the ones that I construct my deck in, I at least have 9 different classes that I can pick and play around with. So like maybe the first time I build something and I'm like, oh, I should be playing Warlock because I want to do damage to myself or something like that. Yeah, that's that. Then I move to the other class and play around with that one for a while. But I think I would say that I honestly, my favorite one still has been the Ragnaros versus, I think it was Nefarian. Is that what the other person was?
Yeah.
The first one that was out, I loved it. I mean, it was, the downside is the same that I think we have from this one, which is one of the deck lists is superior to the other, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like that last one. So now that if I get some more reps in with this particular one, maybe this one becomes my second favorite. And it's weird that I say that I play the ones where I'm constructing a deck more, because I'd say as of right now, my second favorite is the Unstable Portal one, more because of the laws that I get out of it and how much I can it's just so random and so funny. And that one's hilarious in my opinion. But there's definitely been some that I think have been really bad for the most part. And as you said, kind of a waste of resources to besides me playing it once or twice.
Yeah, my biggest problem with it is that there's such a gap in between the good brawls and the bad brawls.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, here's one that we were really, really lazy on. And you can tell, like, so it's kind of like if I owned a restaurant and every week I had a special, and, 1 week it's like chicken pasta and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, chicken parmesan, fettuccine. And then like 1 week it's like ramen noodle.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. It's ramen noodle.
That
right?
is awesome.
Everyone likes ramen noodle. And you're like, no, ramen noodle sucks. Everyone knows that ramen noodle sucks. And like, that's the way a lot of these brawls have been. Like, you have some of them that are just really, really good and well thought out. And you can tell that they spent time on it, like the Ragnaros one. Even if it isn't, the most balanced thing on the planet, like there were resources put into this that come through on the final product. And then you have weeks where it's like, all the minions are discounted by 1. Yeah, that's what we got.
Right.
I mean, it's cool that we have that, though. I would like to be able to do that once at least. I'm happy that it existed. Let's say that. I don't know that I'm happy if that particular one exists again.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. It's still just part of me is just still pissed that the button isn't tournament mode and it's.
I know. StarCraft is getting it. Maybe it'll be coming. Brand Brode, please.
Hopefully.
I don't know.
Please, like if we're not gonna nerf Patron Warrior, can we at least get tournament mode? You know what? Keep Patron where it is. If tournament mode comes, I will shut my mouth about Patron Warrior. It's fine. It's fine. I can play in a tournament. I don't care. Everything's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you just tech against Patron Warrior at that
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
As of right now, you can't really do that on ladder.
Right. It's hard. Yeah. Tournament's different, but yeah. I think my favorite Tavern Brawl so far has been the completely random deck one.
And what type of food would you say that one is?
That is kind of like
special for that one.
Oh man. I don't know. Maybe that's like you show up to like a American food type establishment here in the US and they give you sushi and lasagna. You know what I mean? But you're in the mood for it. It's like, I haven't eaten in 3 days.
Sushi.
Ooh, now you're talking. You're speaking my language,
all
man.
Right.
The problem here is we're getting back to the initial problem here. You're an American food place and you're getting sushi, so it still has the same issue we're having with Tavern Brawl.
Right. I think that one was the most fun in particular. That weekend, my youngest brother had come up, and so he doesn't have all the cards that I've got, and so it's a good opportunity for us to be on like a similar playing field. Because even if you go into deck crafting mode and just hit random, I could get Dr. Boom, Ysera, Lotheb, and then a bunch of cards, and he's got like Wisp and Goldshire Footman, and so it's not exactly equal.
But Wisp is OP,
right?
Yeah, so good. You got 2 Hobgoblins in the deck, right?
Yeah,
well, somewhere.
Yeah, so that one was good. And some of the other ones, I think I'm like you, Brad, where it's like I'll play like once or maybe between 1 and 5 games, and then it's like, all right, that was all right. I'm done. What do you got next week? Back to ladder, back to arena. I think I generally
go
don't
ahead.
like the when you craft your own deck. I don't like those ones actually.
I think I'm in the same boat.
I feel like, especially like what was the one, was it last week or the week before, where it was if you have three, or if you have more than or less than three, if you have three, what is it? Three less
If you
health
have
than your
three
opponent,
less life than your opponent.
or more than three. It was whatever it was. So basically it was everyone play Warlock. So
Yeah, it was just hand lock.
that's why I didn't like it. And perfect example. Right. But that's it. That's the only reason why I didn't really, I don't know if like is the correct word, but didn't care for it just because it kind of drove the meta its own way. Like I tried other decks and I saw people trying other decks too, and I lost to some other decks, but I don't know.
The only ones, like I said, really the only reason that I play Brawl is to get the free pack. In most of the brawls that you construct your own deck, I just play Face Hunter, and I know that pisses people off, but like, there's nothing really I can do about it. I didn't do it in this last week. I played because I was like, well, they're going to get an extra dude if I play Face Hunter. But in most of them, the ones where it's like, oh, Death Rattle happens twice, I'm like, so my Leper Gnome deals 4 damage. All right, cool. I'm playing Face Hunter.
Yeah.
My Haunted Creeper summons 4 dudes. Yeah, I'm still playing Face Hunter. And even there was one where when a minion dies, it summons a minion that's 2 mana less. Like everything was piloted Shredder, basically.
Yeah.
I played Face Hunter in that, and it didn't even matter. Like, so Leper Gnomes, the Haunted Creepers, like they didn't summon anything, but it didn't matter because your opponent's trying to do something cute, and by the time they get to turn 5, they're dead. So, Merry Christmas.
And I think that's what you're getting at, because I tried to do that too early in Tavern Brawl history, I guess. Was, oh, look at this cool little different way to play the game. Let's see, I'm going to put this in there, this in there, and this in there. All right, let's get into a game. Oh, standard handlock. Oh, I just got crushed. Let's try again.
Right.
Standard zoo, standard face. Okay, I'm just going to pick a deck and use the advantage.
the one that I have liked, really the only Tavern Brawl that I've liked, and it was a construct your own deck. Normally I like the ones like this week because I can just get in and get out. I do like the one where you cast a spell and it summons a minion based on the cost of the spell. Because I played, this was back before there was Mysterious Challenger, and I just played all the Pally secrets. And so basically it would happen, basically I would just turn 1, play a secret, turn 2, play a secret, turn 3, play a secret, play a secret. So I've got all these 1/1s on the board, mostly Wisp and Goldshire Footmans and stuff, but it didn't matter because I had like 4 secrets on the board. So it was basically just a turn 3 Christmas tree secret paladin.
Okay.
And
wow.
I hope you can deal with this.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Seems pretty. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that was the most fun I'd had, was playing that deck in Brawl. That was actually pretty fun. But other than that, the Brawl for me is just a ginormous stain on Hearthstone. It's like, hey, we could be, developing new content, but instead we're going to put out this Brawl each week that's a waste of everyone's time, except for like a few people who like super casual random stuff.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd say that it definitely, there's a place for it for sure, because one of my roommates is really into it. In fact, I see him playing it more often than I see him playing other things. And it's not because he doesn't want to play ladder. It's because his card pool is not very great and he's a free-to-play player. So it's really good for free-to-play players. So
it is.
From the game standpoint, it's drawing more people in. So I understand why it exists. It's great. But again, I don't think you can't. The one that we have this week, there was definitely some time and effort spent into it. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they just randomly built a deck and they're like, okay, this is the Noyatron one. Okay, this is this one. But I feels like they put a little bit of effort into this one, and but I do agree with you. I feel like there would, if we had more research and development team and that was developing new cards rather than focusing on this, would be better. And I hope that eventually those resources get allocated that direction when we have so many Tavern Brawls, like 20 of them, that we can recycle them a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's not to say that like just because I don't like something and I don't wish it exists doesn't, or just because I wish that something didn't exist doesn't mean that like I can't see why other people would like it. I'm not, for anyone who listens to this podcast and is like, well, Jeremy hates all casual players. No, I mean, I understand. I just, it's just not something I enjoy.
Yeah, sure.
And I wish that it was different. That doesn't mean that, like my vote should count for more than someone else's vote. Clearly, they run the numbers and decided like we will get more out of this than we will out of something like tournament mode. But that doesn't stop me from being disappointed when I have to log on and play as a Noyatron or Boombot.
Yeah.
When I want a free pack. So.
So confirmed, Jeremy hates all casuals.
Yes, every one of them. I think they should all just quit playing so that I can play. And Hearthstone should be made for me. I should be on the team, and everyone besides me is wrong. I don't know why everyone has a problem with that.
Shoot, you should run for president.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't sound that off, Jeremy. I'm just going to give you that. You're not that far off.
Well, there is a candidate who basically says all of those things, and he's still running somehow. That's right. This is a Hearthstone podcast, so we'll stick to
that. Oh, man. For those of you out of the country, I think he's referring to Donald Trump. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe.
Everyone who's not me is awesome. Donald Trump for president.
You heard it here first. DRC confirmed. Donald Trump hates Patron Warrior. That's a quote. I heard it here.
Donald Trump is a Noyatron.
So I want to interject real quick. I'm on Hearthstone right now, and someone just sent me a thing that says, "What the hell is this tavern brawl this week?" It's literally the text I just got. It's perfect.
That's
perfect. Oh man. Awesome. So yeah, is that it for our tavern brawl discussion this week? You think?
Yeah, sure. It's awful. Everyone hates it. Next.
Hey, that's debatable.
Yes. I'm loving this Jeremy tonight. I'm loving what I'm seeing. This is good.
I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's like a pizza that's like half anchovies, half pepperoni. And it's like, which side do you like?
Yes. All right.
Except every once in a while when I take a bite out of my pepperoni pizza, I can still taste the anchovies where they were cooked next to it.
I'm like, juice is boiled into it.
Yeah. And you're like, this is good, but I don't like it completely. Next is the tournament scene. For those of you who don't know, we're getting really close to our WCS games happening at BlizzCon. So I'm going to be there. So if you're going to be there, write in and let me know. But beyond that, what is going on in the world right now? What's the deal? Or maybe that's the question. What is the deal? Who knows what's going on? Can we answer that ourselves? Guys, what is going on?
So the most information that I could find out about the World Championship was on Gosu Gamers. It's gosugamers.net. They pretty much have like they have a few brackets and stuff where you can sort of tell like who's in and who's been defeated. But the problem is like I don't understand this at all. And maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, all right, so it has Firebat losing in the losers bracket in phase 2, but like, does that mean that he's completely out of the tournament? I'm so confused by the way that this is set up. It would seem like to me that with a tournament that's, going to be giving away basically, what is it, $250,000, there would be a website, at least on Blizzard somewhere, that would say, here's who's still possibly in the tournament and here's who is not anymore.
Yeah, sure.
Does that seem crazy?
Not at all.
No.
I struggled to find information in the first place for this particular tournament and building up to this. Like, it's been so it's not organized. There's no organization, it seems like. And thank God for Gosu Gamers. that link was that whole section that they have on in this tournament is so far the best thing I've seen. It's just very disjointed. It feels really bad because there's no like, here's how the tournament works page either. Just telling me
exactly.
Like, okay, these are the brackets. It's a double. I know it's a double elimination tournament. I happen to know that, but to the average viewer, they're not going to see that. The only thing they're going to see is they go to Reddit and see that so and so won. Here's the clip. It's just, I don't know, which really sucks because there are a lot of major player names in there. And most of them actually have been deseeded, but some of these bigger names are still going to get the publicity rather than some of the lower names. Because, for instance, we had Vicious Syndicate on the other day, and they had a big player in there, and most people aren't going to know that one of their players was doing well. And and then we go back to like someone like, I don't know, Phone Tap, who lost. It's just like that person's still going to get the biggest discussion in this particular thing because of the fact that they have a name. It's because people can't see the tournament brackets and don't know what's going on. And it was so hard for me to even find the fact that like somebody from Vicious Syndicate was doing well, which was, by the way, was Decky's. He was doing quite well. I believe today, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I believe today he may have lost to Pin Ping Ho, who's I believe an Asian pro. I've seen him play a little bit before. Yeah, so I think that's what happened. I'm not 100% sure though, because I haven't been able to keep up with today's results. Again, it's disjointed and confusing to keep track of, which is very annoying.
I'm sure for those that like are glued to Reddit, the Hearthstone forums, and Twitch, it's probably easier to keep up with. But yeah.
But for a game that's aimed at casual players, you would think that Blizzard would just have a website that says, "Hey, here's the standings currently for the championship. Here's who's in."
Mm-hmm. And folks,
because I want to root for people. I just don't know who I should be rooting for and when they're going to be playing.
Right. And I mean, for those of you playing at home, like if you know what's going on, please like help a brother out, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
Maybe we're just really, really dumb.
Impossible.
Yeah, clearly not true.
We know what's up.
So what do you guys think of? They changed over the format recently. They changed it to Conquest. What do you guys think of Conquest? I don't know if many of you have played in tournaments or watched tournaments, but what do you think about Conquest?
What is Conquest, so that everyone knows?
Yeah.
So the way that Conquest works is, let's say Mike and I are facing one another. We're each going to bring 3 decks. And you have to win a game with each one of your decks to move on to the next round. So let's say I brought, Hunter, Paladin, and Mage. So basically I would have to win a game with the Hunter, and then, let's say you beat me, and then I'd have to win a game with the Paladin and win a game with Mage. So it's technically best of 5 because at some point there's going to be a person with 3 wins and they move on to the next round. But once you win with a deck, you can't play with that deck anymore. So if the first game I play with Paladin and I win, I can't play with Paladin at all for the rest of that match per se.
What do you think, Mike?
I don't know. I as far as the tournament formats, I really don't have an opinion. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Not at this point. I don't necessarily. No, I really don't. I really don't know what to say. I mean, I like it a lot.
I like it a lot better than the way that it worked last year, which is basically the exact opposite. If you lose with a deck, it's eliminated. Yeah. So, like if you watch the finals of last year, basically the best deck in the format at the time was like a mid-range Druid. So if you beat someone with your Druid deck, it eliminates whatever deck they were playing with, and then you can just play Druid again. And then if you beat someone again, then you can just play Druid, which is exactly what happened. Firebat won 3 games in a row with Druid, and it's just like, okay, well that wasn't very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Conquest format, you have to be good at least 3 decks.
Right.
And you're going to see, different matchups. You're going to see a little bit of variance because you're not going to see 3 Druid games and then the tournament's over.
I will say this. I think it's more fun, more enjoyable to watch the Conquest format.
Yeah, I agree. I like Conquest too because it offers a little bit more strategy in deck choices. So say you're going to pick, let's say, mid-range Druid, which is very strong right now, and Grim Patron, and then you have your third deck. And let's say the third deck is Mill Rogue, whatever. It doesn't matter what the third deck is, but there's a little bit more strategy that goes into it because generally you want to start with your worst deck in that kind of setting. And you'll see this a lot when you watch people playing Conquest in competitive tournaments. Because if you start with your worst deck first, and even if you lose your first 2 games, if you keep playing that deck, and once you finally get rid of your Mill Rogue and you're like, okay, I finally won a game, then you can move on to your better decks. And now the opponent is down to 1 deck, so you know what they're going to be playing. And so it gives you a little bit of an edge that way. And you're saving your better decks for circumstances where you're like, I can't beat this deck, so I have to move to this other deck. So if they have 1 deck left, let's say it's Zoo and it's a bad mid-range Druid matchup, well, then you're going to move to your Grim Patron deck next. And you're going to try and beat them with Grim Patron. Once you've beaten them with Grim Patron, then you're like, okay, now we have to beat them with Druid. Let's hope we can get there at that point. And so you try to position yourself in a way that you're getting your worst deck out of the way in a sense. And I also think it's really good this way because, as you said, you're not going to see somebody playing only mid-range Druid the whole way through. You're going to see people playing decks that maybe have bad matchups against other decks and then moving to another deck that has a really incredible matchup against the other, and maybe one really close for the final where they're both neither's necessarily favored, but you're trying to put yourself in a position by selecting the decks that are best based on what the classes your opponent has picked as well. Which adds an element of strategy that I think is very much so needed in the competitive or in the tournament scene to make it more consistent for the better players to proceed further. Rather than the person who's good at 1 deck, like we were talking about before. Right. Even though Firebat I wouldn't necessarily say was best at 1 deck, but it's just that can happen.
So do you think at any point once the card pool is larger, we could ever see like a single deck format? I know right now that doesn't really make a lot of sense because of the fact that you can't make like with Magic, it works because you can mix and match the different colors. So you can have basically like a hunter/mage deck. In Hearthstone, that doesn't really work because you're so limited in your card pool. Do you think at any point you'll see, I mean, there are clearly already players who specialize in specific classes. You've got Firebat, who's really, really, really good at Druid. You've got Strife Crow, who's really, really, really good at Paladin, Fibonacci, who's really, really great at Warrior. But do you think we could ever see Hearthstone tournaments, even the World Championship, where it's like, all right, bring 1 class?
It doesn't seem feasible. Even not as of right now, maybe sometime way off into the future when we have a much, much bigger card pool, like a pool that to the point where, here's how I think about it. In every single class, we have 3 or 4. I'm not even sure what the exact number is, but 3 or 4 legendaries that are class specific. So the most powerful creatures that you only have a small selection of options for in the first place. So a lot of the decks, each class is only able to produce 1, maybe 2 decks with slight variations upon them at that point. Now, Mage is a slight exception to that. I think Mage has the most decks available to them. I might be wrong in saying that. Let me think about it for a split second.
You might be right.
Yeah, I feel like Mage has the most versatility available to it, which is a strong reason to potentially play Mage in a tournament, because especially if you're going to play something obscure like an Echo Mage build or something. But I just don't feel like there's, even if we see 2 or 3 more expansions, I don't think there's going to be enough card pool to support diversity to the point where if you show up with one deck, you're trying to break the format with that one deck. It's just not possible. We don't have enough diversity in the format and in the game right now.
Yeah, and I think the only reason that works in Magic also is because of the sideboard thing, which for listeners who don't play Magic, basically in Magic, to get around the fact that like, well, what if I bring Face Hunter and I run into a warrior? There's just no way that I can win. Well, in Magic, they fix that by saying, all right, you have 15 cards to the side, set aside, that you can kind of trade in and out in between games with the cards that you're already playing. So like, Face Hunter might bring in some slower cards and kind of change itself into a hybrid hunter for its second matchup to hopefully skirt around the issue of it being really bad against, Control Warrior or something like that.
Do you think? Go ahead.
Do you think we have enough, 30 card deck? Is that enough to do something like a sideboard or because for those of you who haven't been listening to the podcast for a long time, we did the Pit, our first tournament several months ago. And we kind of played with the ideas, and that was a single deck format. And we're hoping to do some more, not just that, but in general, more tournaments in the future. They are, for those of you out there who do tournaments and host them, God bless you. They are a lot of work. So thank you. Keep it up. If you don't feel appreciated, I promise you are. God bless you. But we played around a lot of ideas. The Pit was a single deck format, and we talked about doing like sideboards and things like that. But some of the, I guess, not opponents, but I guess devil's advocates to that is, are the decks big enough to support that? Will the deck change enough other than, we'll talk about tech cards. Is that really what we're talking about? Sideboarding in, the person you're playing is really good at Druid, so you're gonna put in a Harrison Jones, or that other scallywag across from you plays that just awful patron warrior, so you're gonna put in a Harrison Jones. Whatever it may be. Is that the only reason to sideboard, because the decks are so small compared to Magic and other card games? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So a sideboard in Magic has 15 cards, and generally a deck in Magic is 60 cards, unless you're playing Battle of Wits. But there's in Hearthstone with 30 cards, it's hard to create a 15 card sideboard. That is to say that if you create a 15 card interchangeable cards after game one, so say you're playing a best of 5, and after game 1 you can change 15 of your cards, it becomes a completely different deck. So let's say, for instance, Hunter. You could play Face Hunter and put 15 cards in your sideboard and transition them into Control War or Hunter at that point, basically, which is just a completely different deck at that point. So I don't know if 15 is the number, but there is a happy median. There is a number that you could easily fit into. And just like you're saying, those tech cards, you probably would see a lot less Harrison Jones in the main board in game ones, the core 30 cards of the deck. Right. Because people would be like, I'm not going to play this somewhat situational card, or like Mind Control Tech, or Blood Knight, or the list goes on and on and on. But those kind of cards slot very well into the side, where you can say, hey, I'll put 2 of these in my sideboard because I know I have a bad matchup against Warrior. So I would like a Harrison Jones and an Acidic Swamp Ooze in my side. And that way I can have more game against that matchup. I think it's definitely feasible. And I really would like to see a tournament series that does that. I would play more than I would play any other tournament series, if given the opportunity, because it gives the players that are best at their deck a better opportunity to build and construct a deck that will game against everything. So you're no longer playing a deck that's bad against certain things. You can always have a chance against everything.
Well, we were talking a lot about Kibler at the beginning of this podcast. Kibler, when he first started, was a huge proponent of this idea because he played so much Priest. When he played in his first tournament, he talks about this a lot, how he had never even seen Handlock because he had just started playing. And when he entered his first tournament and then realized, oh God, I have to have 3 decks. I've only been playing with this one deck. So then he immediately, like 2-3 hours before the tournament, he was trying to unlock Nax so he could play, mad scientists and stuff like that. So he's like just basically running around like a madman trying to get enough decks together to play this. And I think that may be a lot of what keeps some of the more casual players out of stuff like Brandon last week was talking about Tuesday Night Hype. Like if you wanted to play in that, you need to have 3 competitive decks. And for someone who plays the game as free to play, that might be a lot more difficult than it is for,
sure.
One of us who goes out and drops $50 every time there's a new expansion. So I think that would open up the tournament scene a lot more to competitive or to casual players. I think something else that would open up competitive tournament play to casual players is completely eliminating the brawl button and replacing it with one that says tournament mode.
We're really salty this episode, if you can't tell.
No, but seriously, if it was an in-game client, if you didn't have to go to a third-party website, I think that would increase the popularity of tournaments a lot more. And I think as people played in tournaments, people would watch more tournaments as well. So stuff like Tuesday Night Heights, stuff like the World Championship would feel a lot more open to someone who plays 30 minutes to an hour a day, as opposed to someone like Brad who streams for 4 to 5 hours a day.
7
7
4, 5, 7, 12.
Well, I'm only awake for around an hour. I'm on your stream for about an hour a night, so I don't know how long you're on there.
Forever.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I like streaming that long. It's fun.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think something like a sideboard would open up people because they only have to have one class to move into. And I
think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, and it's and everybody talks about how nowadays, like for instance, when TGT came out, everyone's like, "Oh, great, we're gonna have 1 million new decks," and really, there's one deck that came out of it, and then every other deck kind of got a little bit buffed or a little bit weakened, and only one thing really came out of it.
If you look at even just the last 3 expansions, have only brought, it's like you say, it's brought a little bit of diversity to each class, but ultimately there's only one deck that came out of each format. Out of Goblins and Gnomes, you got Mech Mage. Out of BlackRock, you got Patron Warrior. And then out of this expansion, TGT, you got Secret Paladin. Mm-hmm. But those are the only new decks. You get Dragon Paladin or Dragon Priest, sort of. But that's more of like an amalgamation of all of the lead up to this set more than it is like, here are these cards in this set that make this work.
Mm.
Yeah, and if you had sideboard, that's basically like now we can construct a whole new game. It's like a new set expansion basically, because now the meta shifts so dramatically. Like I'd want to be on Druid to start with because I can ramp out to anything I want, and I can put like 1 million huge legendaries in my sideboard and a couple tech cards and call it good. But eventually the meta is going to shift when you've got a face hunter that has 15 extra cards out of the board, where they're like, okay, leper gnomes not leper gnomes, never bad. Let's say like Worgen Infiltrator's bad now. Okay, let's switch to this card instead and make my matchup more consistent and change my deck. I think you'd see new archetypes come out of that kind of thing and create a much more dynamic casting as well as tournament, because the casters can then discuss, okay, what do we think they're going to bring in and bring out? And that's a level of skill that we don't see in Hearthstone at all yet. Be awesome.
Yeah. I wonder if that would. I wonder if that would come to the higher levels of. I'm trying to think. Tournaments, bigger tournaments, not higher levels of play, but something like WCS or or Archon League, would they do something like that? I think you're right though. That would be a lot more fun to watch. There's a lot more unknowns where, if you're watching someone play, and you see their hand in the first 3 turns, you kind of know what the deck is. But then, I guess every now and then you'll see them throw in that random tech card where it's like, look at this guy, he's playing Handlock, and oh my God, he has a whatever it might be. That you don't normally see, like on ladder and things like that.
Yeah, I think I agree with 100%. Yeah, be great.
So
I really wish there was a tournament series that does that, because I'd play it every single week, hands down. The problem is, from a tournament organizer standpoint, a lot harder to manage, because you'd have to have full deck lists with sideboard deck lists. And in between games, they're going to have to go back to their collection and edit that, because there isn't an easy way to manage that. And then in game ones, you have to make sure people are back to their initial iterations of their decks and things like that. So a lot of management goes into it. So that's the downside to that. But I think if somebody can nail that down and get it right, then we'll definitely have a more dynamic game.
Yeah, and there was some drama about that in the last couple of weeks, and I apologize, I cannot remember the names of the players in that game. But basically, if you know, please, I apologize if I'm butchering the story and the situation. Write in and let me know if I'm wrong. But I believe what it was this one player that they were playing basically for a spot to get into maybe it was WCS, or to get to a place where they could compete for it a little closer. 2 players, and one of them lost, but what they would do is they would send screenshots of their collection, their I guess when you're going in to play your deck list or whatever. And he had a bunch of versions in there that were not what he sent to the tournament organizers. So nobody said he was cheating. He wasn't necessarily picking one of the other decks to play. But it's like you're saying, how do you referee that?
It takes a lot.
Right. And if all it is I'm going to take a screenshot and show you that, okay, it's a best of 5. I've got 5 different decks. So here are 5 decks. But what I didn't show you is I took 3 seconds real quick, backed out, went to my collection, took 2 cards out, put 2 in, went back, and I'm back in again. It doesn't show any of that. So how do you... Yeah, it's just hard to police without something being built into the client, I think.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, when there's a bunch of games going on, if it's 8 people playing in a tournament, that's easy, because you get a deck list from them, you play the game. If somebody plays a card that was not on their deck list, they lose. Like, they're immediately disqualified. So that's easy. But when it's like a best of, when it's a 64 player, Swiss or whatever it might be, there's no one can watch all those games and scrutinize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's almost like we need something built into the client for that.
It's Alex Bertoncini's wet dream inside you.
Oh man, let's not get into that guy. That's a magic nightmare right there. I have many a story about him. Anyway, I do want to mention something about the tournament, though. I just see that now I'm seeing it now that I'm looking through here even more. Deckies is still live, so Vicious Syndicate's still live. That's awesome. We were talking about that earlier, and I wasn't 100% sure. Because it says in his Twitter post that he is supposed to be playing today, I believe. I actually don't know when it is today. So his post says win 2 matches. First group match begins with Pin Ping Ho tomorrow. So yeah, so today he'll be playing, or maybe the time frame difference means that it's sometime tomorrow or in the morning. But he plays Pin Ping Ho tomorrow. So that's who I'm rooting for moving forward, because it'd be nice to see, up and comers do well.
Yes.
And we saw that in the North American League. I don't know if you guys know this, but in the North American bracket, most of the major players that were kind of hyped, in a sense, speaking of hype, he's out. But a number of the major players have been knocked out, and that's great. I think that's awesome. It proves that, you don't have to be a big name to be an amazing player if you're a competitive player already. Like, it's really hard to get to that level if you're if you don't have the big name yet.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the BlizzCon World Championship just because like that's kind of what got me into Hearthstone in the first place. Is I was sort of playing the game casually, and then this tournament kind of came out, and I was like, that's really cool. Like, I'm not going to get there, but like it's fun to watch, and I can actually wait. You mean I can queue up and accidentally like play against one of these people?
Yeah,
right.
So
right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what makes the game great.
Yeah.
I really like watching the tournament scene unfold. I just wish, like we said earlier, it was a little bit more put together. It was more concise and like a central location of here's where all the information is. That would be cool.
Yeah, it's almost like Blizzard is they just don't want to give us too much information. It's kind of like when we were all wondering, I only made it to rank 5. I'm such a scrub. And then they gave us information. It's like, no, actually, you're pretty good at the game if you get to rank 5. And you're like, oh, okay, never mind. It's almost like they don't want to give us that information. Or at the end of the season, we'll get top 100, list. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. It's kind of nice to see names, some familiar, some new, some the same old folks. I'm not saying that's bad or anything, but I enjoy that. But same thing here. Like, I don't know. Why don't they do that? Why don't they just? I don't know. Maybe that's not what the team does. Maybe they just rely on us. The folks outside of Team 5 to put that information on their sites.
Blizzard, why can't you just listen to every demand that we have and do it right now?
Please.
All we want you to do is everything. That's all.
We'll watch. You can do it all.
Well, I was talking
exactly.
I was talking to Musha on Sunday, and he says he blindly follows anything Blizzard says. He says Blizzard can do no wrong. So if that's true, this should be coming soon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I'd like to see it. Yeah. Honestly, I would like to see more content, more cards, bigger expansions than before that. But if I get tournament mode before more expansions, I would be happy with either one.
Right. I hear you. All right.
Yeah, I feel like our content gap has been pretty long for the most part. It got a little bit shorter with Blackrock Mountain into the Grand Tournament.
Yeah.
But before that, it's our content gaps have been much longer.
Well, and so we'll go ahead and end on I guess the tournament scene and just finish up with this because this is something I've been thinking about too and talking with other folks, different podcasts. What do we think? Since we're so new into this release, what is coming, or what do you guys think is going to come that we haven't seen yet? What deck is out there that it's like, man, where was this deck 3 weeks ago? Kind of thing. Because I'm pretty sure every large expansion we've had something like that, a deck like that, where it just came out of nowhere halfway through I'm going to call it a season in between expansions or releases. What do you think, or what do you want to see? What's your hopes? What's your dreams?
I think a value-based mage list will start to appear. If you watch Kibler a lot, he plays all kinds of crazy stuff, but he and Trump, close to the end of most of the seasons now, have kind of swapped over to this like Giants mage that really doesn't care what its life total is. Really doesn't. The idea is to 2-for-1 your opponent as many times as possible, and you don't really care about their life total. You don't really care about your life total. The goal is to always trade one of your cards for 2 of theirs, and that's just the entire goal of the deck. And eventually they just run out of ammunition, and you're dropping Giants and an Echo of Medivh and all this other crazy stuff. So I think just a value-based mage deck exists that no one has made work, especially with being able to, blizzard away most of your opponent's board when you're playing against Secrets Pally and stuff like that.
Bradford?
I could see that. I think I really hope that eventually somebody can make Rogue better as it currently is.
Oh, sure.
I've been messing around with a little bit, but not nearly as much as I should probably. I think I really think Rogue has a lot of potential moving forward. It already had a decent Grim Patron matchup. It still has Blade Flurry. It still has Fan and Knife, so it can still deal with Secret Paladin as well. And if those two decks keep standing atop the ladder, I think eventually someone might be able to find a good aggressive Rogue build that does well. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'd like to see it.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I want to see Control Hunter.
Control Hunter?
I don't know if it's
Ooh.
going to be this expansion. Maybe we need another set or two. But with cards like Bear Trap and Flare, obviously everyone plays Flare now that Secret Paladin is such a big thing. What is the other one? Sneedmoodle Sniper. That card has not really been utilized yet. And what is the other one? Maybe I don't have it yet. Googly moogly. The one where when you play a spell, you get a lock and load.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I had a secrets before the oh my god, the auctioneer nerf.
Gadget Sand?
Yes, thank you. Gadget Sand Auctioneer. I had a secret hunter that I really enjoyed playing because it was auctioneer and then you just played a bunch of secrets and got to keep drawing cards. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't always, I wouldn't say it was like a tier 1 deck by any means, but it was a lot of fun to play. And that was the closest thing I'd seen or played to a control hunter. I really just want to see it just because we have different classes that have different, aggro decks and control decks in there. So you don't know what you're getting maybe for a first couple turns. And Hunter doesn't really have that. Hybrid Hunter, I feel like when you're playing against it, you can plan for Hybrid Hunter a little bit, but okay, they might have some late game coming, so maybe I don't want to use this quite yet, but I can still handle the early game stuff. But something that's really just control based, I want to see that.
Shout out to one of my buddies, Tom, who is trying to make Malagos Hunter work. I played against him a few times the other day, and his deck is it's a thing. It works.
No way.
He was
wow.
Yeah, he was running Gadget Stand in that and flaring it up and lock and load, and
Whoa.
It was pretty cool.
Holy crap! So I guess you play Malagos and then double quick shot and
yeah,
command.
he just basically gets out Malagos. The only problem is there's no conceal or anything like that. So
Sure.
if you can deal with Malagos, the turn it comes out, then. But basically, it just looks to spend most of the first half of the game using removal and minion removal to keep the board clear, keep its life total up, and then at some point later on in the game, it's collected enough arcane shots, and it likes to just shoot you in the face the game, so it gets you down to about 15, and then drop Malagos and quick shot, arcane shot, that kind of stuff.
Huh.
So
Whoa.
it's pretty cool.
I've seen Shaman do that, but I have not seen Hunter. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I might have to try.
it's pretty sweet. It's funny when it works because.
What do you guys think about Ball of Spiders? I've played it in Arena and it's been incredible.
Really, I don't like the card, but why is it working for you in Arena?
Well, okay, so I start valuing Charging Rhino. I believe that's the name of it. I don't know if it's actually called Charging Rhino. I just call it Charging Rhino because it's a Rhino that charges
2/5.
Yeah,
2/5 for 5 that gives charge to any beast, and so I start valuing that card a little bit higher, and I've been doing that since the release. I've actually been really, really, really successful in Arena with Hunter. I love doing Hunter because it's fast and you can grind for more packs at a faster rate with Hunter because you can get through games faster. But with Ball of Spiders, it's so good because the deck loses when it's behind if you're playing Hunter generally. It doesn't have too many mechanics that catch it up. So when it's kind of in parity and it's not quite ahead, you can slam a Ball of Spiders and fall behind and then still play your charging rhino, and they'll kill all your web spinners, or you'll run web spinners into stuff, and then charging rhino plus any of those cards that you drew off of the web spinners just starts doming them, and then you just hold this charging rhino on the board, and every single threat that you play from there on out is a beast, and you can just keep running things into everything. So effectively, if you think of it kind of like a Grim Patron deck, it's giving everything in your deck charge, and charge is such a powerful ability. And so I've sometimes I'm taking even up to 3 charging rhinos in my draft pools when I already have a ball of spiders. I've been thoroughly impressed with it. So I was wondering what you thought about it in a potential control hunter list, because the card advantage you generate from it's insane. The downside is the turn you play it is it's kind of slow,
really weak. I guess if you could pair this with some sort of board clear.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Explosive trap?
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. It's kind of like in a shaman deck, I bet this would be pretty good too. You could play this and then lightning.
I can't think of the name. Yeah, I know it's sharp. The board clear effect. Yeah, the 2 to 3 damage.
Right.
Lightning storm.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't like the cost of it, but I do see what you're saying about getting the card draw.
Yeah, it's just insane card advantage.
Yeah, I guess you could think of it as 6 mana, get 3 minions, and eventually draft 3 cards.
Yeah, it's like a 6 mana 3/3 that gives you 3 cards.
When you put it that way, it's not bad, but
yeah. The downside is it's only a 6 mana 3/3, and it's by turn 6, I want to be putting like 6 7s on the board.
Yeah.
So it's not very impactful. I've actually, when I get a ball of spiders, I also am valuing Hunter's Mark higher too.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of times they'll just ignore it.
How about this? What if it was a 6 mana? It was literally a 3/3, draw 3 cards on your next turn. Just throwing it out there. Would that be worth it then? Would it look better than it is right now?
I think it would be better because you would get to draw cards that are already in your deck.
Yeah.
Drawing cards that are already in your deck. I wonder if that is more of an advantage than random.
Sometimes you get Captain's Parrot off of Web Spinner, and that's not good.
Are you suggesting that's not good? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Come on.
Maybe if you hedge and you play the Captain Greenskin, you could play Captain Greenskin in your hunter deck, just so that when you get Captain's Parrot, it's not useless.
Right.
Well, what about like playing Bloodsail Raider and playing South Sea Deckhand? So you at least have things to draw into. It's not good. Yeah, there you go. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, there's potentially viability for it. There is definitely some bad beasts. There's definitely some. Let's say this: it's a 6 mana 3/3 that draws you 2.5 cards on average. Like you might get 2 cards, you might get 3 cards.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
No. All right. Well, any other thoughts on that before we go?
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
Let's go play some more Brawl.
That's right. It's your favorite. So, folks, don't forget you can find us at www.deathrattlecrew.com or write into us at mail@deathrattlecrew.com. Find us on Twitter and YouTube as well. Just search a handle Death Rattle Crew. There's a lot of Death Rattle Crews in there. Bradford, where can people find you streaming?
So I stream on Twitch every day except for Fridays. I stream at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can find me at twitch.tv/BradfordLee. And yeah, it's pretty easy to find me.
Awesome. And Jeremy, where can we find you?
You can add me on your friends list if you want. I don't stream. My name on Hearthstone is... Oh, God, what is my name on Hearthstone?
Flash and Yeva.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. It's Flashinyeva, FLASHINYEVA, pound 1542.
Nice.
So you're gonna have 1 million followers.
Yeah, add me.
Right.
You can play some games. No, I doubt it. No one likes me that much.
I like you.
But,
come on.
But yeah, I don't stream. I just like to hang out, play Hunter, and have fun. I'm gonna go make this Control Hunter work. I'm gonna go do some.
Yeah, I want to see it. So those of you playing at home, if you've got an idea or something you're playing with, please write in and let us know, or send us a note on Twitter or something. I've been theory crafting it, but I haven't really tried anything yet. So if you tried something, please let us know. I want to see it, or any decks for that matter, but specifically Hunter. Come on. So that'll be it for this week, episode 36. 36? Is it 30? It is 36.
It's 36.
It is 36.
I can't count.
You got it.
Missing lethal all the time. Confirmed. From the rest of the crew, I am Tac2, joined by Bradford Lee and the legend formerly known as Jeremy, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Take care, guys. Peace.